'90s, there were a slew of albums that had hidden tracks at the end of them. So what would happen was you would listen to a CD and you would think you were on the last song, and then if you paid attention to the CD player, you would see the time elapsing, and it wouldn't stop because the CD players would stop once it's over. So on Nevermind, this one didn't, and this might have been the first album I ever heard that had these hidden tracks. So I remember looking at it going, well, why is it still going? So I would hold the button down, and it would just keep going and going and going. This is a 3-minute and 45-second song, and it isn't until 13 minutes and 50 seconds that we actually hear something again. So this was kind of annoying. I am guessing that bands did this maybe as kind of an Easter egg, as a joke, maybe, as a goof. But why can't you just put the song, the hidden song, just as another song? Because, and I know I'm explaining a first world problem here, but you would hold the scan button down, and you would wait till you heard something, and then, at least when I heard something, I wanted to go back to the beginning of what I heard because I would fast forward too much. So I would hit the rewind button again, and sometimes it would go back to the beginning of the track, and I would have to fast forward again. So, again, Nevermind was the first album where I heard this, but off the top of my head, Danzig had an album like this. The band Fight had an album like this where there was a hidden track. Tool, I think, on one of their albums, it might have been the Undertow album, went to track 69, I think. So it'd be like, I don't know, track 13 would be 2 seconds, 14, 2 seconds, 15, and just on and on and on, and then 69 there would be a song. Overkill had an album where it was like this, where it went to like track 99. And it was just like, oh, why? And then when iTunes came out and I transferred all my CDs to iTunes, you would just see track 15, 16, 17, and I would just erase them because it was just a waste of space. Pearl Jam, I don't know if I just said that because I don't even remember what I say anymore. Pearl Jam had that as well on 10, where they just replayed the beginning of the first song as the ending to the album. So this was a 311 had, I think, and it was just a trend, and it just really, that wasn't much of a payoff because it was just another song. So I'm going to talk about Something in the Way first, and then there was the hidden track was called Endless Nameless. So Something in the Way, the 3-minute and 45-second song, it's a very, very haunting melody. The cello is just perfect in this. The cello makes the song. The rest of the song is Cobain just kind of mumbling in a way, and of course the line "living off of grass" stood out to me because I think at this time Cobain was smoking a lot of weed. I think the whole band was smoking a lot of weed at the time, so the line "grass" for some reason made me think of that, but maybe the character in the song is actually eating real grass. Because the lyrics just sound like a lonely homeless guy who's living under the bridge with barely any food and water, and then justifies eating fish because they don't have feelings. So it sounds like a homeless guy who's just rambling and doesn't really know what to do because he's living under a bridge, or maybe he likes living under the bridge. Obviously, there's a mental illness there. And then I'm trying to think of the title, like Something in the Way, and trying to figure out, well, what's in the way? What is that something, and what is it in the way of? And maybe that's what the character in the song can't figure out, and that's why the character is under the bridge. So I think it has to do with mental illness, some kind of depression. So something is in the way of the character in the song getting out of this predicament, but the character doesn't know what it is and doesn't know how to get that thing out of the way. So it's a good song, nice, mellow, haunting song. Not the best on the album, and it's Cobain I think it is just moaning best, just kind of droning on and on and on. And I guess depending on my mood, sometimes it can work, sometimes it can't. So then we go into the hidden song at 13:50, which Endless Nameless. I remember when I was a kid listening to it and just going, oh my god, there's all this noise, stop with the noise. But now, just listening to it with the headphones, I appreciate the violence of it. It's a very violent, noisy song, but it's also interspersed with something that sounds like it's the distorted guitar goes into the clean guitar, which kind of sounds like surf music in a way. And then when the surf music ends, it goes back into the heaviness of it, which makes it sound even louder and more violent. And the lyrics to this are very aggressive and full of pain, and it's almost metal sounding. He's singing about dying, and again, anytime Cobain sings about dying, I mean, he's dead, so I just think about him being dead. But he's singing about dying and death and hell and crimes and crime and jail, and I think he repeats mother over and over again, and then he repeats no mas, which is Spanish for no more. So he keeps repeating no more, no more, no more, and it's just like, it could be just I don't know about the beginning, because I think Cobain has always been depressed, but just as far as letting us know, like, oh my god, what is he going through? And he's just screaming and in pain. So, I think it was the hidden track aside. I think Endless Nameless was a cool way to end it. I like albums to go out. Again, it depends on the album, but an album with Nevermind, I think, starts off with a bang, and it was good to end with a bang. If they ended with something in the way, something nice and mellow, that would have been fine. But I think just the way the album was constructed works, which is a lost art these days, because most people don't listen to albums. They buy singles, and that's about it. But as far as the flow of an album, it takes you on a roller coaster ride of emotions, and that's why I think albums are so important. And I try to buy a full album whenever I can. I'll sample it these days to see if I like it, and if it's something I'm really drawn to, I'll buy it. I think I'm going to sound old, but I really do listen to a lot of new music these days, and I think a lot of the newer bands are just good. They're good players. They're very, very solid sounding, but I don't know, maybe it's just the amount of time that I don't have to listen to albums anymore, or maybe I'm just not dedicated because I think I've heard everything already. I rarely buy albums these days, so if I hear a newer band with a good song, I'll listen to the song, sample the album, and usually from sampling the album, it doesn't do anything for me, and maybe that's not fair, and maybe these days it's a way out, because it stops me from committing the amount of time I don't have to listening to the album. So I really do my best with it. I've been trying more and more to buy the albums, because sometimes the deep tracks are sometimes the best songs on the album. But having listened to Nevermind, and we're at the end of the album, it brought me back to a time where, I mean, there were CD singles, but again, a guy like me back then needed the whole album. I needed to hear everything that the artist was saying. So I'm hoping to get back into that more. But and I also hope you enjoyed listening to this, and eventually I'll listen to another album, and I'll go through the album song by song. So albums are important, so I'm gonna try my best, do my best to appreciate all the songs, and not just singles. I think you're doing the artist a disservice. While granted, it's nice to listen to anything the artist has, but I think the artist puts out songs for a reason, and the artist wants you to hear it. So let's try to give him the chance, and pay for the music, for God's sakes. Jesus, give the artist some money, because they're broke, and if the artists are broke, they're not going to be able to make the music you like. And they'll be touring all the time, trying to make money that way, and trying to figure out ways to make money, like doing commercials. So, and I think a lot of artists just would like to make some more money on albums, which gives them more money to give them time to write more great music. So, go and spend a little bit of money. It's just, even on a song, it's just 99 cents. Come on, you can do it. I know you can. So, thanks for listening, everyone, and I'll be back soon with a whole new album. All right, bye.